Hi, welcome to another night of preparing ahead for Thanksgiving. So tonight we're going to make the cranberry-raspberry jello ring. Okay, this is, as you can tell from the previous shot, this is a really old cookbook. I think it's going on like 46 years, and I've been making this recipe for my family for about 35 years, and they really, really like it. Otherwise, people can't decide, do I like the gel cranberry or the whole cranberries? This way, there's no argument. So we've started a pot of water. I should have let that boil before I got you on the phone here. So we're gonna let that go ahead and get warm. And so there's a couple things on this recipe. So we can go ahead and prep while we're doing this. There's a couple things on the recipe because it is so old. It calls for a 10-ounce frozen package of raspberries. Well, the smallest package of raspberries these days is 1.5 pounds, so a lot different than 10 ounces. So while we're waiting for our water to boil, we're going to go ahead and get our 10 ounces of, trying to figure out where I'm going to put this, get our 10 ounces of raspberries ready. So you could either kind of guess, or I like to go ahead and I use my scale. And what's nice about these scales, if you don't have one, is, Charles, come in on the scale so they can see it. So when you first turn it on, it shows zeros. But if I'm going to measure something in it, I can put this on here and it shows the weight, but we can change this to 0. So we don't have to do our math, okay? I have a lot of friends that are like, I can't cook because I'm not very good at math. And it's like, you don't have to be. And if you don't have a scale, you can kind of just guess. And we're going to also kind of know by when we pour this in. So we want 10 ounces. And I got lucky, this bag I've kind of already loosened up. So we don't have to loosen it up. And it's going to fit.
One more.
Oh, raspberries all over the floor. And I don't think the cats will eat those, so I'll have to pick them up. Okay, so we, let's see.
That's close enough for camera work, huh?
Look at that, I moved one and didn't even do nothing. Okay, that's close enough. So as you can see, if you didn't have a scale, you can roughly do 2 1/4 cups, you know. So we've got that weighed. Our water's still boiling, so let's see what else we can prepare ahead of time. Okay, we also need the cranberry orange relish. And I forgot to get that out of the refrigerator, Charles, so sorry. I told him I was going to get all this stuff so he didn't have to follow me. I didn't do very good. And now I got to remember where the heck I put that. I hid it in here someplace. Well, I guess I hid it really good. Oh, I found it. Okay, so Charles and I had a conversation about this the other day. So the particular deli that I picked it up at, they just had them prepackaged in a 1-pound container. So there's a controversy here, so I'm going to get a measuring cup to do this.
Yeah, because they do it by weight, but the recipe is by volume.
Okay, well, it's interesting because the recipe is so old. It actually says, our water's boiling. So let's get our Jell-O in here first before we do this controversy here. So we're going to dissolve 1 3-ounce package of raspberry gelatin and a 3-ounce package of lemon gelatin. So we've got the water boiling, and we're going to stir this in until it dissolves. And I go ahead and cut this up over the pan, because no matter how often you shake it down, some's going to still stay there, and then you have kind of all that little dusty stuff, that dusty gritty stuff all over the floor.
Or if you're me and you cut things over the open drawer, everything falls into the open drawer.
Yes. And this one's not too bad until you go to put water on it to clean it up, and then all of a sudden it's red and yellow.
It turns to Jell-O.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to put those 2 in there. And then we're just going to stir this till it dissolves. It's going to dissolve pretty fast. So I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. Okay, so now we have this controversy. So if you come back in on the scale, it left that one where I had the container, but this is a different container. So you can either start off at 0 again. We're going to put this on, and now we're going to 0 it again.
I think we're doing this by volume.
We're going to do this interesting. Okay,
we're going to see if the weight and the volume match. Because
this calls for a 14 ounce, about 1 1/3 cups. Now, when I was a kid and you bought this in the store, it was a 14 ounce container.
But that's by volume.
You know,
fluid ounces.
Yeah. So
God, I wish we had the metric system.
So I'm gonna turn this down. So if I remember correctly, because Charles brought this up the other day, and I thought, what have I been doing? And for the last several years, because you haven't been able to buy the 14 ounce container, gosh, since probably the whole time we've been married, so 25 years or so. So I've been doing it by weight. But Charles mentioned that's probably not really right.
Yeah, so we need a cup and a third, right? That's 14 ounces.
So we're gonna kind of see how this comes out. 14 ounces.
Okay, so that's 14 ounces by weight.
Okay.
So what is that by volume?
Okay, look at that. 14 ounces exactly.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, so now we're gonna wiggle this down.
Lab there.
Okay, and I got to get over here where I can see it in the light.
Well, that's hardly accurate, but I think that doesn't matter that it's accurate, does it?
Okay, so I got to be able to see it. So that's 1 1/3.
So that's 14 ounces, give or take.
So that's interesting. It's exactly the same.
So it's like sour cream is the same weight that it is by volume, which is interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so there goes that experiment. Now we'll have to find something else to debate when we're not on camera.
Well, it's still by volume.
Okay, so we've put the gelatin in. The gelatin has broken down. It's all it's not quite dissolved. Let's back up. See, now it looked dissolved until I put the spoon in here, and then I could feel that it wasn't.
You can kind of see some of the brown stuff on the edge there.
Yeah, and I also put the spoon in here that had some raspberries on it. So we're going to have some chunks in here. So this is almost dissolved here. You want to make sure and use something like this that you could. That's why I switched from the fork, because the fork you can't really feel if it's stuck to the bottom. Okay, so now this is dissolved. Okay, then you're going to put in the frozen raspberries. Now we were lucky; these were almost all individuals, but sometimes they come out in chunks. And pardon me. And in that case, you're going to kind of want to break the chunks up. We got lucky; there wasn't any chunks. Okay, so we're going to put that in, and then we're going to put in the cranberry orange relish. Let me grab the right container of the cranberry orange relish.
That's looking pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, and then we're going to mix this all up. Now I've already turned the burner off, so after it came to a boil and my gelatin dissolved, I went ahead and turned that off. Now this needs to cool, and we're going to cool it. You can I'm going to transfer it to another pan, because this pan has a solid stainless steel bottom on it, and it's made to retain the heat. And the thing is, I want to chill this for about an hour. I think it takes about, it says chill till cold but not set. So don't make the mistake of putting it in your mold yet, because it's not ready. If you're going to put it in your mold, then you're going to have to stir in your mold, and then it's going to kind of get all messed up on the top, and you have to take paper towel and clean that all up. You can tell I've done that by experience. So we're going to get a bowl that we can put in the refrigerator. And I like this metal bowl.
Do you have room for that bowl in the fridge?
I do. Okay. I'm going to put this metal bowl in here because it helps get it cool. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and put this in here. Okay. Now, the other night we had a conversation about being careful about the 7-Up, because the 7-Up says a 7-ounce bottle, because this is a 30-plus-year-old recipe. And I said, oh, you can't find a 7-ounce bottle anywhere. So be careful. Don't add a whole can of 12 ounce. So guess what? These little bitty cans, these are 7.5. So they're pretty close. So we're going to actually weigh this when we come back.
It's fluid ounces, though. It's volume.
That's true. So we're going to measure it. Thank you for correcting me, Charles. So we're going to measure this. So we don't want to put in this whole 7.5. You think, oh, a ½ ounce isn't that much different. But in a gelatin, that can make or break your gelatin. Okay, so we don't want to do that. So we're gonna, so I just want to show you that you can buy something close if you're not a 7-Up person. And then these are nice if you have these cans and you're not a 7-Up person, you can kind of put these in your pantry or with your liquors, and then when you have company, you can pull those out. Somebody's gonna want it, or
in case you need to make a 7 of 7.
That's what I was just gonna say. Or they make a great 7 and 7, and so that's kind of nice to keep on hand. But you can come close, so nobody has to sacrifice themselves and drink it right now, or make a double batch, or throw it away. So we're gonna go ahead and put this in the refrigerator. We're gonna let this chill. So we're gonna pause this video for right now, and then we're gonna come back and we'll finish this in just a few minutes. So thanks so much, and see you soon. Let's check and see how this is set up. Okay, so with the metal bowl, you can feel that it's nice and cool, and then you can also see that it's starting to set up. Now we wanted this to be partially set, but not completely set. The directions actually say chill, cold, but not set. And so we're gonna go ahead and break this up a little bit. Okay, so we can see that it's not set. It's starting to get a little form in it, but it's nice and cool. Okay, so we've got our Jell-O mold ready. Now, if you have one of these Tupperware ones, you want to make sure that this is sealed. I've put this together where this isn't actually sealed, so you want to double check that. You don't need to grease it in any way. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to need to add, so the only thing we're going to do is it says gently pour in the 7-Up and stir gently till partially set. Then we're going to turn it into this ring. So we need 7 ounces. And remember, this is 7.5 ounces. So we're going to go ahead and just get 7 ounces of this. You always want to wipe the top of your cans off, particularly in this little crevice here, because that's where the dust settles if there is any. So we are going to go to 7 ounces. And of course this is going to bubble up, so it's going to be a little hard to see. And there, oops, I think I got a little too much. Nope, not enough. Looking at the wrong line there. Okay, and it's very hard to see, but we've got the 7 ounces there. And those, so we're going to pour this in, and we're just going to kind of fold it in. And because, depending on how firm this is, if you got it a little too firm, it's okay. Go ahead and break it up with your fork prior to blending in the 7-Up. But so we're just going to go ahead and blend this in. Now we're going to actually put this back in the refrigerator, and we're going to chill till partially set, and then we'll be bringing it out and putting it in our mold. So back into the refrigerator it goes. And then we're going to check this. It's not going to take very long. We're going to check this in about 15 minutes, and then we'll come back and put it in the mold. Looking forward to seeing you soon. Yeah, let's go ahead and check how this is doing. So we're going to go ahead and pull this out. And we want it partially set, but not set. So this looks really good. So we're going to just kind of fold a fork through it to see how it is. That looks pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and pour it in our mold. I particularly like this mold. So what we're going to do, once it's all set and we want to get it out, we'll put I'm going to pretend like this is a plate. We're going to put our plate on top of it. We're going to turn it over, and then we're going to just crack this seal like this, and it'll pop right out and fall down onto the plate. If you don't have this Tupperware mold like this, you may have to let it set at room temperature so it starts to melt around the edge so you can jiggle it out onto the plate. and then we'll fill the inside with some parsley, and it'll be really quite pretty. So when we're pouring it into our mold, we want to try not to get it, we want to get it just in the mold and not on the top here. And I always manage to get a bit on the top. So I kind of turn my mold a little bit so I can get those chunks kind of going around. This is interesting doing this left-handed. I should have grabbed a spatula, so I'm gonna see if I can get this not to drip on the counter while I go get a spatula. You can see it has started to set a little bit, which is just the way we want it. We don't want it to set. Okay, now I did get a little on the edge there. So I'm just going to take a paper towel, and I want to clean that up before it sets, okay? Because otherwise it's liable to drip down and grab hold of your mold, and it may knock a little chunk out of there, so we don't want to do that. I did get a little bit on my lid when I set that bowl down on there. So we're going to go ahead and seal this. And when you burp this, you want to burp this in the middle where you don't have any Jell-O. So that's a really nice place. And back into the fridge it goes.
Until Thursday?
Until Thursday. And I set it on a nice flat surface now. But to keep my family out of it, because Charles really, really likes this, is I'll put it in one of the vegetable drawers or into the lower drawers after it's set, keeping it still level, but that way it's kind of out of harm's way or such, and it's also out of his mind. Now Charles asked me a question tonight. He's like, "There's no cranberries in here." There is, because of the cranberry orange relish. So there's not a lot of cranberries. But remember that the cranberry orange relish is primarily cranberries with just a little bit of orange zest, and a little bit of orange juice, but it's primarily the zest and the orange. So there's a cup and a half or a cup and a third of cranberries in there basically. So it's set, and we will pull that out on Thursday. So we'll be making a couple other things prior to Thanksgiving, so we can get some of these things out of the way, and then Thanksgiving Day we'll be doing everything together, and you'll find that I'll be taking breaks and watching Hallmark movies while we're cooking. So we'll look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great night. Thank you.